The unexpected guardian. The old Weatherby mansion was a mausoleum of quiet despair. Cold, grand, and suffocatingly silent. It had swallowed a succession of caretakers, therapists, and tutors for young Ethan Weatherby, a boy whose life had been fractured by a car accident that claimed his mother and left him with a severe mobility impairment. The latest in this line of failures was Maya Jensen. She was a breath of fresh air in a house that hadn't known it in years, and Charles Weatherby, Ethan's distant, grief-stricken father, barely tolerated her presence. He saw her as another hired hand, a temporary solution to a permanent problem. But Maya wasn't there for Charles. She was there for Ethan. She coaxed him out of his shell, trading sterile physical therapy for games of dragon hunting, through the garden and puzzle-solving marathons in the library. Her unconventional methods worked. Soon, Ethan was taking tentative steps, a smile on his face, his father watching from a distance. The mansion began to thaw. Charles, who had long resigned himself to his son's limitations, felt a flicker of hope. He wasn't just observing anymore. He was participating. Change in a house like this was glacial, fragile. It was a new rhythm that was easily shattered. That fragility was proven one afternoon when Charles entered the library, his face tight with irritation. He held out his phone to Maya, its screen glowing with a venomous article from a high society blog. The headline screamed, Weatherby heir in questionable company. Caretaker's past raises eyebrows. The article dredged up details from Maya's life she had never hidden but certainly hadn't broadcast. Her years of low-wage jobs, a past eviction notice. It was a thinly veiled smear. "It's Eleanor," Maya said flatly, recognizing the style of the attack. Charles, her brother-in-law, admitted as much. It's her way of turning the screws without leaving fingerprints. "And you're telling me this because?" Maya asked, crossing her arms. "Because I need to know if there's anything else she could drag out," he replied. "Anything she could twist." Maya's gaze hardened. "I've done nothing to be ashamed of, Mr. Weatherby. If working to survive is scandalous, then so be it. I'm not accusing you," he said, raising a hand. "I'm trying to figure out how to protect you." The words caught her off guard. "Protect me? You work for me. You care for my son. That makes you part of this family in ways that matter, whether my sister likes it or not. And I won't let her tear you down to score points." Maya held his gaze. "If you really mean that, then don't just defend me behind closed doors. Stand up for me where it counts." The opportunity came that very evening. Eleanor swept into the dining room unannounced. A thin smile painted on her face. "I came to check on Ethan," she said sweetly, though her eyes were fixed on Maya like a predator. "I can walk across the garden now without help." Ethan beamed, oblivious. "Maya taught me." Eleanor's smile tightened. "How wonderful. I only wish I could say the same for the company you keep." Charles's fork clattered against his plate. "Enough, Eleanor." "What?" "I'm simply suggesting you be mindful of appearances. These things matter in our circles. A caretaker with a colorful history. It's only natural people will talk." Before Maya could respond, Charles's voice cut in, louder than she'd ever heard it at the dinner table. "Maya's history is one of perseverance and strength. She's done more for my son in a few weeks than all the specialists and so-called experts I hired over the years. If people want to talk about that, let them." The room went silent. Eleanor's smile faltered, her cheeks flushing, and she left the room without another word. That evening, Maya found Charles leaning against the kitchen counter. "I hope I passed your test," he said. "It did," she replied, a faint smile on her lips. He then proposed a small gathering, not the usual society nonsense, but a party for people who mattered to Ethan. "I'm more worried about the people who've been here all along and never cared about him beyond a photo op," he explained. Maya realized that Charles Weatherby was beginning to see the world through a different lens. The cracks in the Weatherby armor weren't weaknesses. They were openings where light could finally get in. Hashtag a battle in the open. The gathering was a success. The guest list included Ethan's physical therapist, his favorite librarian, and a handful of Charles's business associates who had shown genuine interest in the boy. It was a different kind of crowd, one that raised eyebrows among the staff, but brought a quiet satisfaction to Maya. Midway through the party, She saw Eleanor, uninvited but determined, gliding in with a glass of wine. "Well," Eleanor said, her voice smooth but edged, "you've certainly made yourself comfortable." "I'm here because I was asked to be," Maya replied, "and because Ethan wanted me here." Eleanor's eyes flicked to the boy, who was laughing by a chess table. Children are impressionable. They think they know what they want. But families, real families, have to think about the long term. Charles joined them, his expression unreadable. "Eleanor," I'll say this once more, "Maya is part of this family's present and its future. If you can't accept that, you're free to leave." The rest of the evening passed without incident, but Eleanor's watchful presence lingered. As guests departed, Charles raised a glass and gave a short speech. "Tonight isn't about appearances. It's about the people who stood beside Ethan and believed in him. That includes every one of you, and especially Maya Jensen." He turned to her, his sincerity unmistakable. "She's given my son something money couldn't buy. Hope, courage, and the will to try again. I owe her more than I can say." Later, as Maya stepped outside, she found Eleanor again. "Don't mistake his speeches for permanence," Eleanor said quietly. "My brother has a habit of changing direction when it suits him." Maya met her gaze without blinking. "Then I guess we'll see if he means what he says. But either way, I'm here for Ethan, not for your approval." Margaret's warning was not idle. A few weeks later, a thick manila envelope arrived for Charles. Inside was a stack of grainy photographs of Maya, leaving a grocery store, unlocking her modest apartment, talking to a neighborhood acquaintance. The final photo was the most damning in its framing, showing Maya handing Ethan a glass of water, the angle making it look strangely intimate, almost staged. "They're trying to build a narrative," Maya said. "Eleanor," Charles said, his voice sharp. "It's meant to make you doubt me," Maya replied. "I don't," he said instantly. "But she's using these to corner me. If I defend you, I look like a man blinded by sentiment. If I distance myself, I betray Ethan. So what's our move?" His gaze held hers. "We don't hide. We don't explain. We show the truth in plain sight. I want you with Ethan at every public event this month. I want people to see exactly what you do for him." The first test came at a high-profile charity auction. Charles insisted Maya come, not as a help, but as a guest. Dressed in a deep green dress, she walked into the ballroom with Charles and Ethan. Conversations dipped. She felt the weight of every glance. Eleanor was there, of course. "Maya," she said warmly, "I see you've joined us tonight." "Ethan wanted me here," Maya replied, matching her tone. "And you allowed it, Charles." "I invited her, and I'll keep doing so," Charles said, his smile not reaching his eyes. The rest of the evening was a careful dance. The cameras captured Maya helping Ethan navigate the crowd, guiding him gently onto the stage to present a donation. Each time, Ethan beamed, and Maya could almost hear the narrative Eleanor had hoped to craft unraveling with each flash of a camera. The price of truth. The week after the charity auction, the media storm shifted. Headlines praised the boy's determination, but whispers persisted. Eleanor was silent, which Maya knew was worse than her direct attacks. Silence meant she was planning. A few days later, a note arrived from Maya. "Asterisk, meet me at Harrington's Cafe. 3 p.m. I think we can help each other." Asterisk, there was no signature, but the elegant script was unmistakable. Margaret was already seated when Maya arrived. "You've done well for yourself," she said smoothly. "But let's not pretend this arrangement is sustainable." She slid a slim envelope across the table. "Enough to secure a comfortable life for yourself. You leave quietly of your own accord. No public scene. No more rumors to chase you from job to job." Maya didn't touch the envelope. "You want me to sell out Ethan's trust. That's what you're asking. I want you to think about your own future. Do you really believe Charles will keep you around when the cost becomes too high?" Maya stood, her chair scraping against the polished wood. "You underestimate me, Eleanor, and you underestimate Ethan. I'm not here for a payout, and I'm not here for Charles. I'm here because that boy believes in himself when I'm beside him, and I won't walk away from that." Margaret's smile faltered. "Then I suppose we'll see how long you last." The following days were marked by a strange, Uneasy quiet. Then, during a small dinner Charles hosted, a single white envelope was delivered. Inside was a photograph of Ethan and Maya in the courtyard. Scrawled across the bottom in red ink were the words, asterisk, "How much longer will you risk him?" Asterisk, "She's threatening us now," Maya said quietly. "Not us," Charles replied. "You." That night, Maya found Charles in the kitchen. "She's not going to stop," Maya said. "No," Charles agreed. "But neither will we. You've already proven her wrong once. We'll do it again." But Maya knew the truth. It was time to stop playing defense. It was time to fight back. The next day, a story appeared in a reputable local newspaper, not a gossip column, but a serious feature piece. The headline read, asterisk, "The Unlikely Victory, How a Caretaker is Succeeding Where Others Failed." Asterisk, it detailed Ethan's journey and Maya's unconventional, effective methods. It didn't gloss over her humble beginnings. It framed them as a strength. Charles also took action. He called a full board meeting of Weatherby Industries and announced the creation of the Ethan Weatherby Foundation for Children with Disabilities. He then named Maya as a founding board member. It was a public slap in the face to Eleanor's old money values, a declaration that Maya was not going anywhere. Eleanor called Charles, her fury barely contained. He gave her a choice. She could join the new foundation and use her influence for good, or she would be cut off from the family entirely. The quiet that followed was the most surprising thing of all. The attack stopped. The gossip blogs went silent. A few weeks later, Maya stood in the garden, watching Ethan walk effortlessly along a stone path. Eleanor appeared at the edge of the path, her expression no longer one of malice, but of something far more complex. Defeat mixed with grudging respect. She gave a single, almost imperceptible nod of acknowledgement. Not an apology, but an end to the fight. She turned and walked back to her car, a silent retreat that spoke volumes. The next morning, Charles offered Maya a salary that reflected her new position on the board. She tore up the first, astronomical check. "I'll take the board's salary, and a decent salary for my caretaking," she said. "But this isn't what I came here for. I came here for Ethan. He's not something you can pay for." Charles smiled, a genuine, warm smile she had rarely seen. He tore the check in half. "I was hoping you'd say that. But I am going to start paying you a salary that reflects your value, not just your job title." Over the years, the foundation grew into a powerful force for change, and Maya became a respected voice in the community. Her greatest pride, however, was not her title or her paycheck. It was in the confident stride of a young man, now a teenager, who walked his own beat, his head held high, his smile as bright as the morning sun. She had come to the Weatherby estate to serve, but she had stayed to teach, and in doing so, had created a new kind of family, one built not on blood, but on trust, loyalty, and love.